Good afternoon. 4th of July, wow. There are a lot of people not going to picnics today, I see. We are really fortunate to have today our friend Claude Shappelle, and you all know him, but very good. Claude, as you may know, and I found out, was a teacher at one time, so we're just going to see how good a teacher he is, because I have a few questions about the 4th of July for you, okay? I'll give him a chance. He might be slow, but give him a chance to answer, okay? Are you ready?
Sure.
Are you ready? Well,
okay.
Okay.
I'll give it a try.
Here we go. I'll repeat the question twice in case you guys don't hear it. Where was the Declaration of Independence signed? Where was the Declaration of Independence signed?
I know the answer.
You do, okay.
On the bottom.
Okay, all right. How can you beat that? Looks like he's 1 for 1. Next question, this is a little tougher. What does the Statue of Liberty stand for? What does the Statue of Liberty stand for?
Well, I would say she stands because she can't sit down.
Oh, okay. Sounds good to me. I don't think so. If we had, he wouldn't be talking. Okay.
Ever see that $64,000 question? And there was a big scandal because they gave them the answers?
There you go. Any questions? Any more questions? Okay, this one is not too bad, but which flag is the most highly rated?
Oh, that's easy.
Which flag is the most highly rated?
The United States flag, American flag, because it has 50 stars.
Wow, okay, it sounds good to me. Last question. Last question. I saved the toughest for last. What does Uncle Sam and most all of you out there, including Claude, have in common? What does Uncle Sam and most all of you out there, including Claude, have in common?
I know the answer.
You do.
White hair.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Claude Shappelle.
Oh, thank you, Patriots. It's so nice
Okay.
to be here celebrating the 247th birthday of our country. And, you know, it's a wonderful day. Despite the rain, there are picnics and barbecues and parades and fireworks. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it? And, you know, we celebrate our troops. And I hope the rain hasn't affected the celebration too much. But, you know, despite the celebrations, don't we have to remember and honor the history? You might have read the Morning Call this morning. It printed the entire Declaration of Independence, you know? And when the 13 colonies were formed, you know, there was quite a bit of the relationship between those 13 colonies in Britain wasn't good for about 10 years before 1776. In fact, when the Declaration of Independence was signed, the 13 colonies had been at war with Britain for 1 year. And the article in the Chronicle lists the 28 grievances that the 13 colonies had with the King of England, King George III. And so they approved, the 13 colonies approved unanimously the Declaration of Independence. And it was signed on July the 4th, 1776. Now, it was actually a Declaration of Independence by the 13 colonies from England, or Great Britain. And, you know, Just let that sink in, because Great Britain was a global superpower. And here we were, 13 little colonies, and we were declaring our independence from them and establishing ourselves as a country. You know, it's hard to imagine. The 56 gentlemen, that signed the Declaration of Independence, you know, were committing high treason against the country of Great Britain. And the penalty for high treason was death. So it's quite a gutsy thing to do. You know, it's really an important document. And as I say, if you want to read the thing, it lists the 28 grievances that the colonies had with King George. So it's on page 6 of the morning call this morning. But you know, it's such an important document that Abe Lincoln, 100 years later in 1883, used a portion of the Declaration of Independence in his Gettysburg Address. And everybody knows that we find these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So it's a wonderful document, and thank you for being here to celebrate this great birthday. What I'd like to do today is play some patriotic songs. There's no better way for us to celebrate, I think, this historic occasion than to sing patriotic songs and show our patriotism, right? Do we have any seniors here? All right, then you know the words to most of these songs, so I hope you sing along, okay? I'd like to play some new patriotic songs, some old patriotic songs. I'd like to play songs that were popular during each of our wars, songs that people might have sung. And lastly, I'd like to celebrate the veterans that are here today. Okay? Here we go. Before that, I actually found a joke with relation to Independence Day. Would you like to hear it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, it seems that it was the weekend before the big final exam in history at a local college. That exam was scheduled for Monday afternoon. And Saturday afternoon, 4 young college students decided that they wanted to go party at a local college. So they drove to the local college. They partied all night long into the next day. So they slept all day on Sunday. And on Saturday, they got into their car and they headed home for the final exam. On Monday morning, they got into their car and headed home for that final exam in history. And they decided to take a shortcut, and they ended up on a country road and got a flat tire. And the car didn't have a spare. So it took them hours to get this thing repaired, and guess what? They missed the exam. So as soon as they got home, they went to the professor and they asked if they could make up the exam. Well, the professor thought about it, and reluctantly, she said, okay, you can make it up tomorrow afternoon. That's Tuesday afternoon. Oh, they were elated. They went back to the dorm and they studied together. Well, Tuesday afternoon comes, they go to make up the exam. And the professor puts them in 4 separate rooms. And they open up the exam, page 1, problem 1, 5 points. On what date was the Declaration of Independence signed? Oh, they said, cool. And they all wrote down July 4th, 1776. Then they turned the page. Page 2, problem 2, 95 points. Which tire? Well, why don't we start off with the national anthem, okay? I think you know that the national anthem was declared our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, in 1931 by Congress. And it was a very difficult decision. You know, there are lots of beautiful songs they might have picked for the national anthem. But here we go. It was based on a poem written by Sir Francis Scott Key. Remember? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what surrounding we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose stars and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare of bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Fantastic. You sound like a rehearsal of the Mormon Tabernacle. You know, you did a wonderful job on that. It's an octave and a half song, so it's really difficult to sing. And I have to mention that some people feel that the government in 1931 perhaps should have selected a different song because it's hard to sing. It talks about rockets and bombs bursting in here. And most of all, it's the only national anthem that doesn't name the country in the title or in the lyrics of the song. But it's been our national anthem for 90 years, 90 plus years, and you did a heck of a job on it. So prior to 1931, however, there was a de facto national anthem that everybody sang. And you might know it, My Country 'Tis of Thee. A great song, here we go. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, and of the pilgrims pride, from every mountain side, let freedom ring. I had to say, you sound wonderful. You really do. I was going to say now, to encourage you to sing, I was going to say, you know, if you sing the right notes, that's more than we ask for. That's wonderful. You know, and if you don't sing the right notes, but they sound good, that's okay too, because that's called harmony. Yeah. And if you sing notes that aren't the melody notes and they aren't the harmony notes, and they, you know, don't sound exactly right, that's okay too, because that's jazz. But I don't have to say that because you guys know everything. It's really great. Well, you know, I love the fact that wherever you go, you know, over this weekend, and perhaps it's a 4-day weekend, isn't it? For a lot of people who work, we wouldn't know that. But because it's Tuesday, they got Monday off, they got Tuesday off, and flags are flying everywhere, and everybody has red, white, and blue outfits on. It's absolutely wonderful. And you know, the flag that flew over the 13 colonies was much different than the flag we have today. You know, it was designed by a committee back in 1776. And there were 13 red and white stripes. There were 13 6-pointed white stars on a blue background. And as I say, it was designed by a committee. And George Washington, and two of the story goes, that George Washington and two other folks went to Betsy Ross's upholstery shop and walked in and showed her the design and asked her if she could make that flag. Well, she looked at it and she said, gee, I don't know, but I'll give it a try. And then she made a suggestion. And she demonstrated how she could make a 5-pointed star with just a couple clips of her scissors. So she asked them if they wouldn't mind if she substituted a 5-pointed star for all those 6-pointed stars. And they said, okay. So that's what we have, the flag today. So here's a great song, and you can sing along to this, okay? Here we go. You're the rainbow flag, you're a flying flag, and forever peace may reign. You're the emblem of the land the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue. For there's a word of most or rag. Should all the greatness be forgot? Put your eye on the rainbow flag. One more time. You're a rainbow flag, you're a flying flag, and forever peace may reign. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue. Oh, there's never a post or rag. Should all the greatness be forgot? Put your eye on the rainbow flag. Great. In 1883, a professor went out to Colorado Springs to teach, and she was actually blown away by the amber waves of grain blowing in the wind. Have you ever seen that? And she was really impressed by the majesty of the Purple Mountains. And she came home and wrote a poem, and of course it's the beginning of a song. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, forever waves of grain, for purple mountains majesty, above the fruited plains, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesty, above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea, America. Well, here's another song. It was a Union anthem, and it was, it was against slavery, and it's a story about Christ coming back down again to eliminate all the evil in the world. It's called Battle Hymn of the Republic. It was written in 1861, right before the Civil War. It was sung all through the Civil War. It's a great song, wasn't it? I think you know it. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I've seen them in the watchfires of 100 circling bands. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and pants. I have read his righteous steps in the dim and fairy lamps. His truth is marching on. One more time, here we go. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Very good. Very good. We want to play some songs, and again, this is a unique list of patriotic songs, my idea of patriotic songs. And I would think that songs that were popular during the wars that we've been involved in would be patriotic. The first war would be the Revolutionary War. And, you know, it's interesting that this particular song was sung by both the colonists and the British. The colonists thought it was a jaunty song and they enjoyed it. And the British thought it made the colonists look like country bumpkins. So they made fun of the colonists by singing this song. Everybody knows it. Here we go. Yankee Doodle went to town, riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his hand, called it macaroni. Yankee Doodle, doodle doo, Yankee Doodle dandy, all the lads and lasses are as sweet as sugar candy. Very good. Well, the next great war that we were involved in was the Civil War. And you know, a conservative estimate is that 620,000 Americans died during the Civil War. That's a conservative estimate. The number has gone up to 850,000. Back then they had trouble keeping track of who was, you know. So actually, the fatalities was more than the Revolutionary War, the Mexican-American War, the Spanish-American War, the First World War, the Second World War, and Korea combined. It was a tremendous loss of Americans. You know, there were more Union soldiers killed than Southern soldiers, but everybody was a proud American at that point, was a proud fighter, soldier. You know, I think we ought to remember history and not try to change it. So I have no problem playing this song, which was sung in the South during the Civil War. You know, Dixie was the nickname for the Southern states. And by singing it, I don't think we mean that we support slavery or anything like that. It's a part of our history. And it's a wonderful song. Here we go. Civil War. Now I have to think of it. Oh, I wish I were in the land of cotton. Old times there are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away. In Lucy, where I was born, early on a frosty morn. Look away, look away, look away. Oh, I wish I were in Dixie, away, away. In Dixie, back up in my stand to live and die. Dixie, away, away, away down south in Dixie, away. It's wonderful. I love it. Okay, that was the Civil War. The next great war was the First World War. This song was written by George M. Cohan. You know him, right? I understand he wrote 50 shows. They weren't all Broadway shows, but they were shows. And he wrote 300 songs. He was prolific. He wrote Grand Old Flag, for instance. And he wrote this particular song, which was sung during the First World War. Here we go. Over there, send the word to beware, that the Yanks are coming, drumming everywhere. Over there, say a prayer, to beware, say a prayer. They'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't be back till it's over there. Very good. Oh, Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Hear them calling you and me, every son of liberty. They'll be ready to hurry on already. And I forgot the words, sorry. Over there, send the word to beware. That the Yanks are coming, drumming everywhere. Over there, send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't be back till it's over there. Oh, I remember that. Here, hurry, quickly, don't delay, go today. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad. Tell your sweetheart not to pine. She'll be proud that you're in line over there. Send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't be back till it's over there. Well, that was such a nice verse, I had to repeat it. I love the words. Hurry right away, don't delay, go today. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad. Tell your sweetheart not to pine. She'll be proud that you're in line. I love it. I wish I was George M. Cohan and could write stuff like that. You know? Okay, well, that was the First World War. The Second World War, George M. Cohan wrote this particular song as well. In fact, it comes from a movie about his life in 1942. You know, in the Second World War, it's 39 to 45, so it's right smack in the dab of the Second World War. And it was done, the movie was in 1942. The movie won the Oscar for Best Movie. And the movie also won the Oscar for Best Actor. The question is, who was he? You got it. James Cagney. Yeah. He was a song and dance man early on, you know. And so he won the actor for this. And the name of the film was Yankee Doodle Dandy. I am the Yankee Doodle Dandy, Yankee Doodle do or die. A real life you are white on the sand, born on the 4th of July. I've got the Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle went to town just to ride a party. I am a Yankee Doodle boy. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You remember all these songs, and you sing beautifully. Beautifully. I know some people here are in the choir, the community choir. Great. Okay, let me think. So that was the Second World War. The next war was the Korean War. You know, and I searched the internet trying to find a song like those other songs that I consider patriotic songs, and there wasn't one that anybody spoke of that was sung during the Korean War. So I came up with one that I think was probably, you know, at the heart of a lot of soldiers and the people they left behind. It was done by Joe Stafford. She was in a backup group for Frank Sinatra. She recorded in 1952, right in smack dab in the middle of the Korean War, which was 50 to 53. And it's about separation. And if you listen to the middle part, I'm sure you agree with me that this is a song that perhaps touched the hearts of soldiers and those at home during the Korean War. Here we go. See the pyramids along the Nile, watch the sunrise on the tropic isle. Just remember, darling, all the while you belong to me. See the marketplace in old Algiers, send me photographs and souvenirs. Just remember when the dream appears, you belong to me. Here we go, this is the words. I'll be so alone without you. Maybe you'll be lonesome too, and blue. Fly the ocean in a silver plane, watch the jungle when it's wet with rain. Just remember, till you're home again, you belong to me. Such a pretty song, Joe Stafford. Okay, that's the Korean War. And following that, we had Vietnam. 1955 to 75, 20 years. And there are a bunch of songs I could have, but there's one by the Animals called "We Gotta Get Out of This Place." And, you know, I had somebody tell me last year on Veterans Day that this is the song they sang. It was by Bobby Bear, and they refrain, the first part of the song is what everybody sang. It's called Detroit City. And let's do it. I forget it. Oh, please bear with me. You know how this goes, don't you? I want to go home. I want to go home. Oh, how I want to go home. Was it last night
Robert's
in
here.
Detroit City?
Robert, he's here.
And I dreamed about those cotton fields back home. I dreamed about my mother, my father, sister, and brother. I dreamed about the girl who's been waiting for so long. I want to go home. I want to go home. Oh, how I want to go home. Old folks think that I'm big in Detroit City. When the letters write, they think I'm doing fine. By day I'd make the cars, by night I'd make the bars. I wish that they could read between the lines. I want to go home. I was the Gulf War, 1990 and 1991. And this song came out in 1984, and it's a relatively new patriotic song, but I think it's one of the best patriotic songs. 1984, Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA, better known as I'm Proud to Be an American. And I just love this song. And it was very popular in 1984 because President Reagan was running for his second term in office, and this was a song that he used in his campaign. Plus, it was a big song during the Gulf War. If tomorrow things were gone, work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Yes, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend us till the day, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from the sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, yes, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend us till the day, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Yes, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me, and I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend us till the day, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Thank you. Well, that's wonderful. I think that, most of those I would consider to be patriotic songs. And that was a new song, 1984. I think there are two other new songs that would be considered patriotic songs. This one is about those 52 prisoners that were held prisoner by Iran back in Jimmy Carter's administration for 444 days. Jimmy Carter couldn't get them released, remember? And we used to wear, yeah, I heard it, yellow ribbons. And there's a song that came out called Tie a Yellow Ribbon by Tony Orlando and Dawn. You remember that, right? But what's interesting is the story behind that song. The story goes that there was a gentleman who went to prison for 3 years. This was written up in a railroad book back in 1995. Gentleman went to prison for 3 years. It probably wasn't something very serious, but he came from a very poor family. The prison was pretty far away, so nobody ever came to visit him for 3 years. And he felt maybe they were embarrassed, but anyway. After 3 years, he got released, and he wrote a letter home to his wife or girlfriend, I'm not sure. He said, he said, I'm being released. He said, I'm coming home on the train. And he said, you know that big oak tree in our backyard right next to the railroad track? She said, you know, if you want to see me again, tie a white ribbon around that tree, and I'll get off the train and go. If I don't see a white ribbon, he said, I'll stay on the train and you'll never see me again. So he was on the train coming home, and he just couldn't bear to look. So he got up from the window seat, and he asked the fellow next to him, he says, there's an oak tree coming up on the right-hand side. He says, tell me what you see, what you see. And the fellow says, the tree is covered with white ribbons. And so, if you listen to the words of this song, they match that story that was in that railroad book perfectly. Here we go. Tony Orlando. So I think it's a patriotic song. You know, those 52 prisoners were not released by Jimmy Carter, but the first day that Ronald Reagan took office, they were released. Here we go. I'm coming home, I've done my time. I got to know what is and isn't mine. Well, if you receive my letter telling you I to be free, then you'll know just what to do if you still want me. If you still want me. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree, well, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put the blame on me if I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree. Was trying to please the parade, 'cause I couldn't bear to see what I might see. Yeah, I'm really still in prison, but my love, she holds a key. A simple yellow ribbon's what I need to set me free. So I wrote and I asked her, please, tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree, well, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put blame on me if I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree. Everybody knows the words to this. Now the whole damn bus is cheering, and I can't believe I see 100 yellow ribbons round the old oak tree. I'm coming home. Thank you. World, did I forget World War? I'll certainly play with that. Does World War II mean something to you? Sure. Well, in that particular song, you know, it's not a railroad, it's not a white ribbon, it's a bus and a yellow ribbon. But the words fit, didn't they? Yeah, Second World War, the song that was sung was written by George M. Cohan, and it was based on a movie of his life called Yankee Doodle Dandy. And this was Second World War. Yankee Doodle Dandy, Yankee Doodle Doodle, a real life view of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. Yes, I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart. She's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle went to town just to ride a boat. I have a Yankee Doodle boy. Yankee Doodle, the cowboy song was, I love this, I love the hat that Jones wore. That's a cowboy. And she's kept there's a price tag on it. Lily Pearl, she's kept that on it, so she's got a sense of humor. I like that. Okay, well, the other recent, God Bless the USA, Lee Greenwood, that one by Tony Orlando and Dawn, and this one, relatively new patriotic songs. I think they're patriotic. This was done by Frank Sinatra in 1977. We all expected the Twin Towers to be a permanent part of the New York skyline, didn't we? September 11th, 2001, the terrorists brought them down. And ever since then, I think the song, New York, New York, is a patriotic song. I think it makes people remember the tragedy back in 2001. Do you agree? So anyway, here we go. Frank Sinatra, and by the way, Frank Sinatra grew up in Hoboken, so he would have liked the Giants. But anyway, this is the New York Yankee victory song. For the last 40 years, every time the New York Yankees win at home, they play this song, right? And Frank Sinatra liked the Giants. I don't know. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be part of New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray right through the very garden. New York, New York. I wanna wake up in a city that doesn't sleep. And find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap. These little town blues come melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York. These little town blues are melting away. I'll make a brand new start in New York, New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York. It's up to you, New York, New York. Oh, New York. Well, it's about that time, ladies and gentlemen, I think to recognize and celebrate all the veterans that we have here today. Some all gave some, and some gave all. And, we shouldn't just remember them on the 4th of July, or Veterans Day, or Memorial Day. We ought to think about what they've done every day of the year, to protect the freedoms that we have. So I'd like to play a medley of patriotic military songs. And could I ask if you're a member of this particular branch of the service, would you please stand or raise your hand and be recognized? Okay? How do we start with the Army? If you're in the Army, would you please stand? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, here we go. 5. Over hill, over dale, we have hit the dusty trail as those caissons were rolling along. Marched along as those caissons were rolling along. For it's high, in the building, count out your numbers loud and strong, and wherever you go, you will always know that those caissons were rolling along. Thank you for your service. Thank you. How about the Navy? Any Navy? Maybe you served in the Navy? Okay, Richard. Anchors away across, anchors away, college, Georgia. And then we got the Air Force. Anybody here in the Air Force? Oh, come on out, Jim. Yeah. He's already standing. Just two. Okay. Off we go. Here they come, starting to read our hymn, and the boys give it done. And we die, starting to fade from them. All with one of the road. We live, came, go down, came. Nothing can beat the USA goal. Thank you for your service. And then we've got the Marines. All we need is one good man. Here we go. Anybody serve in the Marines? And you know, we forgot to mention the wax and the waves. Do we have any waves or wax here? Okay, well they, you know, go with the Army and the Navy. The wax go with the Army and the waves go with the Navy. Okay, but here we go with the Marines. Stand if you're a Marine. Play it for everybody. From the Gulf to Montezuma, through the shores of Galilee, we will fight our country's battle, the air and the sea. First to fight for right and freedom, to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of the United States Marine. You know, thank you so much for standing. A woman stood, and I've often thought of asking not only the veterans but their families, people who the song meant something to stand up.
The Coast Guard.
The Coast Guard. Ah, yeah. Because, you know, they were at home and they suffered as much as the folks on the front line, I think. So anyway, the Coast Guard. You know, during the Second World War, we had all those submarines, but our coastal cities did not suffer one iota. Here we go. Always, oh, we have a Coast Guard. We're always ready for the call. We serve on land and sea. We serve on storm and on gale. And shall our purpose be. Serve the purposes of God. Our fame, our glory too. We fight to save or fight and die. Coast Guard, we're all for you. You know, we all owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude. Well, it's come to that time. Actually, we started late, so we're a little over. But anyway, this is, I think, the unofficial second national anthem. I think you probably all know what it is now. If you're in a group and you say, what should we sing? What patriotic? Very rarely do they say, let's sing the Star Spangled Banner. They usually say, let's sing Kate Smith, the biggest singer the biggest female singer in 1938. And in 1938, she had the most popular radio show. And she went on that radio show in 1938 and said, it's my pleasure to introduce a new song, God Bless America. And you know, it's, she went to Irving, Berlin in 1938, I guess, and she said, she said, everybody in the country is really bummed out because Hitler just invaded Czechoslovakia. And it looks like we might get drawn into that war in Europe. Could you write a song that would lift everybody's spirits? And he went into his file cabinet and he pulled out God Bless America. He had written it 17 years earlier and never did anything with it. So she recorded it, and the rest is history. Here we go. As the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair. Let us raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean, white with fall. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet This is a wonderful tribute to everyone today. It was so much fun for me. I hope you enjoyed it. And I speak for all of us, I think, when I say we're proud to be Americans. Greatest country in the world.
Mr. Claude Shappelle.
Hey, how we doing? How's it? Bye bye.